What's up, guys? Valakas back here with another Lineage 2 Revolution video. I know it's been a while. Real life has been getting in the way, and this update has been a lot to absorb and digest and get my head wrapped around. So I wanted to make sure I had some good information before I come out with a video. So let's dig right into some of these changes, the things that are new, the things you need to be aware of, tips for the new update. We're not going to be able to cover every single change, but here are a couple of high points that I think some people might be missing. And when at the end of this, I'll kind of finish up with my thoughts on the UR and my strategy and how I'm going to go about it. So tune in to the end to talk about the UR gear. So the first thing, obviously, you probably have noticed the Codex. There's new Codexes and new cores to get, lots of them. But some of them are GIRAN. So hopefully you didn't burn through all those old stones, because some of these are both GIRAN and ORAN. So make sure you're checking the core shop all the time. Salvaging your unused cores and working on that CP. That is a ton of CP there. So what I'm doing is, like I mentioned in the update video, I have been saving all these stone boxes, right? So I've used some of these, but I'm using all these to grab these orange stones as I need them for summoning. And then all these fragments, when I need them, I'm converting these GIRANs into those stones. So that's how I'm managing the stone. So the GIRAN fragments for the dungeon cores that are GIRAN, and then all the orange stones for the new Codex cores. So that's what my strategy is. Hopefully you saved some of those. Like I said in my last video, didn't burn through them all for the Sprout event and saved a few things. Otherwise you might be finding it tough to get the stones you need to complete the Codex. One thing that I think is pretty cool is the whole salvage mechanism in the game now. It really opens up a lot of opportunities. So in your workshop now, right, you have the option to bind and salvage. So you can still bind your scrolls and all that as necessary. But one thing you might want to do is, if you haven't bound any of these unused mount tokens, you might want to consider. So we'll bind one of these and I'll show you why. So now we can go to salvage. We go over to where those are stored, and now you can salvage these. And you salvage them for advancement stones. So if you've got pet mounts that you want to level up, you can use it for that. And you can, for a small amount of Dina to convert these, you can get them to use those to level up your pet. Also, so let's go ahead and check that out. We'll dump these into our pet quick. We're getting our lion up there. But, we can salvage a few more stones, get this lion maxed out to R20, and then if we want, we can start moving on to some of the other mounts. So you can use this as a way to get extra advancement stones if you'd like, and start leveling up some of your other mounts. So a good way to grab additional CP that you may not have had. So along with salvaging, let's talk about the daily dungeon event, or the daily dungeon. So now we've added a hell mode. And I know a few people, myself including at first, were contemplating, do I want to do the very hard or the hell, especially on days where stones, like, Radiant accessory upgrade stones, well, they haven't even released the UR for the accessories yet. So do I really want to start stockpiling these stones? And not sure, is it going to come in 2 weeks? Is it going to come in 2 months? When am I going to be able to do UR accessories? And even if I had all that stuff, even for upgrade stones, like, it takes so long to get all the other materials, do I want to do that? Or do I want the regular upgrade stones? Well, the short answer is you want to do the hell mode every day, regardless, even if you don't think you want the radiant upgrade stones. Let me show you why. Let's go back to that salvage area. You can actually salvage a radiant stone for 10 accessory stones. So there you go. Even if you don't think you want the armor or the weapon or the accessory radiant stones, and you'd rather have more, if you salvage them, it costs you nothing to salvage, and you get 10 of them. So instead of the 4 you were getting on very hard, you're going to get 10 for hell mode. So let me just show you that. 10 accessory upgrade stones. And then if you change your mind, you can just go back, if you have the recipe, to bind them back up. So if you get the recipes, you can bind them back into the radiant stone. So there you go. Make sure, this is now, you can get like 10 stones a day instead of 4 stones a day. So this is great. You can do, like, if you do a couple resets, you can really power up jewelry or gear for limit break with this feature. So that's really cool. Before we get into the full UR discussion, let's talk about some of these events. Touch on these quick. So have the lucky box is the same as before. I'm working through this sprout event. Got most of the good stuff that I wanted. I'm gonna grab a couple of these accessory boxes soon. The login works pretty standard. Just keep your game on, AFK as much as possible. Basically, the more minutes you put in, the more points you get, the more stuff you can get. So plan to get all that stuff. And then the treasure hunt, a little bit interesting. You get keys for doing Temple Guardian, Summoning Circle, a few other things, dungeon helps. So this is a great time to reset Summoning Circle and Temple Guardian if you already aren't doing that or thinking about it or do it sometimes. Do it now so you get more keys to push through this event. Because you can see there's some rewards to get some stones, as well as a nice chunk of yarn, as well as an R attribute stone in here. So those are nice rewards down there if you can make it through there. So on top of needing all these materials for Temple Guardian, and the Temple Guardian box is giving you, potential to give you SR gear for salvaging. This is a great time to be resetting Temple Guardian with the extra bonus if you have the red gems to do it. Also, if you didn't see this down here on the bottom right, the rewards list shows you in your current map everything you have completed and picked and what's left. And so because there's a Mayfer still in here, I'm probably going to keep opening this box. But once you get all the rewards you think you want or need, then it's time to reset with your friendship points so you can move on to the next box. So let's use our 4 keys here quick, see if we can get lucky and pull that Mayf out of here. Oh, enhancement scroll, not too bad. Single fragment. Single fragment. Let's see here. Let's try that one. Alright, upgrade stones. Alright, so hopefully we get that Mayfer without going all the way through this board, but then we would reset it for that. Obviously, there's the new dungeons, the new elite dungeons in the game. Those are super important. We'll probably do a whole nother video on those, as well as the new Ivory Catacomb Lab, the Forest Secrets Canopy. The big thing I would mention here, without going into great detail, is there are several magical mobs in there that you can farm much more efficiently if you have a good red rare weapon than you can with your elite weapon. So I've got both of mine leveled up and attributed pretty high, but watch what you're hitting with your mobs and select the correct weapons. Your farming will be even better. Before we get into salvaging here, so I'm trying to sell as much as I can on my trading posts, keep my diamonds up, blue diamonds up. And the main reason is, if you haven't seen the new shop, there's a new daily. So they've always had the login or login diamond, but now they have the login materials, which gives you the recipe scraps or the recipe fragments that are really hard to get, and those are kind of the limiting factor for UR. So that's going to be really helpful. And then also you're getting some other equipment materials and additional scraps. All works together. So I think if you've been in the practice of converting blue gems, either by buying blue gems or selling stuff to the trading post to get materials, I've kind of switched from using the daily login, which gives me herbs and runes and enhancement scrolls, to this to work on the UR. Now, if you got the blue diamonds, you can definitely get both. And I might do that because I've sold a lot of stuff. Had a luck selling upgrade stones and rare items and things like that. So just another way to go about it to get more materials. So the UR process is pretty complicated. I'll show a chart here showing you all the materials you need, and we'll talk about my strategy here. But you can always go into your workshop, and see the recipes you need and what you need to make them, as well as you can unclick the View Only Craftable and see, what does it take for the recipes you don't have materials for. And you can see there's a lot of them with all the different armors and red armors and elite. A lot to do. And you can also see when you get into the salvage screen, it'll show you different levels of S, R, what you get if you stack them up, right? So S basically just gives you the scraps and the standard material. Salvaging an R does give you the opportunity to get the rare material, which is what you need. So you're definitely going to have to salvage some R's to get what you need. You can see it works the same for armors, but you got to make sure you're salvaging the armors for your class. Otherwise, you're going to create scraps that you can't use. So, and then SR gives you the most materials. So myself, I'm not planning to salvage my elite gear, but I do have just show you. Like I have SR boss gear. I really have no intent to level up a boss set or get a boss set to UR. The only thing a boss set would probably be really useful for would be like Vark very hard, and I just don't see myself doing that. I just don't have the resources, the time to do that. So I have some stuff that I've gotten out of Temple Guardian boxes and picked up randomly along the way, and summon boxes and things like that. And so I really plan to basically salvage a bunch of this boss gear. And you can see the material keeps piling up. And then all that stuff goes into, all the stuff you need for salvaging.
So as you can see in this chart, you definitely get different materials and different amounts of materials based on the grade and the rarity of the materials that you salvage. So based on this chart, you're probably going to have to salvage more than just S materials to actually get everything you need. And get definitely some R's and maybe in a few SR's salvage. So what I'm doing is I'm combining my A's as so, right, to get S's. If I hit an elite, then I'm using that for an attribute enhancement. I've got my attribute up to 9. Once that's done, so this is an S staff, I'm just going to level it up and combine my normals and hopefully get something better, or an R or an SR that I can salvage. So I'll just keep combining until I get what I want, like this, and eventually even some R's to get the right materials. So that'll be the process. My elites like this I will probably use to try to get my attribute to level 10 on my elite weapon. In the future, once I'm 10, then I'll consider possibly using that for limit break or for salvaging, depending on what I need at the time for my elite weapon. As we mentioned before, right, the SR weapons are the ones that give these ripped recipe fragments. None of the R's give those. So you can earn those in other ways, but you might have to actually upgrade some of your stuff to SR to get all the materials you need. So that should be everything you need to know. Make sure you keep combining. And once your attributes and your limit breaks are done, then you can start using those weapons for additional salvage materials for UR. So that's how you salvage and the strategy you'll want to do. And it's expensive. You use a lot of DINA, but this whole UR thing is going to be a huge grind.
So to actually do the UR process, let's go into your inventory. And you can see here, you can select on any gear you want. And so you can go to Forge, grade UR crafting, and it basically shows you the materials you need. So this is all the stuff you need, and you can view the stat increase by what you're going to do, right? And basically, but the thing is, you can partially do this stuff. So you don't need all 4 things to do it. You can actually start on completing the process, and you'll get a partial CP gain by doing that. So for me personally, my plan is to do my elite weapon. So that'll be the first weapon I do. I don't have any of the materials 100% completed for this. I still need a fair amount of scraps and materials to do this. But these are weapon scraps. They're separate from armor scraps. So I'm going to do my elite weapon first. From there, I'm not sure if I'm going to do my blue or my red rare weapon, but that will be the next priority weapon. But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of heavy mobs, elites, where that weapon really helps for farming. So getting that up will help you farm faster and hopefully help you get more scraps and materials for your other stuff to get those up faster. So I really think the elite weapon is the best way to go. And then from there, I think I will basically work on my rare armors, because my elite set's not up to, and I don't know that I will ever fully develop my elite set. I may change my mind, but primarily my plan is to work on my elite weapon and then follow up with my rare weapons, and then actually work on my rare armors, my blue armors first. So looking at this, I'll show you just how this works. I'm actually going to insert these materials. So 3,000 of the almost 7,000 scraps I have. You can see I gained 500 CP. So now if I go back and look at my chest piece, you can actually see I'm 25% now of my craft completion progress, whereas my other gear is still at 0. So you can get some of that CP, keep farming those scraps. Hope that makes sense. I hope these charts are helpful. You can screenshot those if you need to. Let me know what other comment or questions you have about the update, other things you'd like to see. Leave me some notes in the comments. Tell me what you want to see. Thanks for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Heliclash. Like, comment, subscribe for more content.